Hi friends and readers, I'm super excited for this week's reading vlog, and that's because it is now episode 2 of reading the lowest and highest rated books on my TBR. I think that every time I film a clip, an ambulance goes on in the background. I filmed this video for the first time a few months ago. I think maybe like 3 months ago, and I found a 5 or 6 star read in The Nightingale by Kristen Hanna. And then the lowest star was not even a bad rating for me either. So I'm really excited for this week, and hopefully I can find a 4 star, a 5 star, or just enjoy my reading this week in a new way of picking off my TBR. Now, I think this week in particular, my lowest rated on my TBR, I'm using Goodreads to determine. I do like the aesthetic of Fable a lot better. Goodreads has a little bit more functionality when it comes to organizing the TBR, and clearly allows me to order it by lowest rated on the app and highest rated on the app. And so I could clearly see both books that I would be reading this week. And I've also updated my TBR a little bit more frequently on Goodreads than I have on Fable. I want to lean into Fable a little bit more and get that more organized for a later video as well. And I'll give you a sneak peek. The lowest rated book this week has a 3.73 star rating on Goodreads out of 966,000 ratings. And this went onto my TBR in March of last year, so it's been on there for well over a year. And the highest rated on my TBR has a total score of 4.46 star rating, which is over a whole point. No, not over a whole point, but a 4.46 star rating out of 270,000 ratings. So it does not have nearly as much as the lowest rated on my TBR, and we'll see if that makes a difference. And the fun thing about this week is both books are on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm going to be reading off my trusty, dusty, handy dandy Kindle, and I've got my fall cover on, very fantasy-like, which means I'm going to be on the go with my books this week. In particular, I am in the next hour or two leaving for a weekend trip with some friends to the mountains. So maybe I'll get to film some cozy clips and get a little bit of reading done in the mountains this weekend and just relax. But I'll catch you when we're into the first book of the week. My cats are fighting in the background. We may hear some of that action. It is so dark and gloomy. It's only like 5:15 p.m. on Monday. I think the last time I spoke to you was maybe Thursday or Friday. It was Friday. And I was heading on a mountain weekend trip, and I did read, but not very much. But I did end up taking Monday off, which is today, to sort of reset before going back to work after my trip, and I have gotten a good bit of reading done today. I'm 60 pages into the first book, and it was the perfect day for this. It is rainy and gloomy, and the weather is finally getting cold and chilly outside, which is my favorite time of the year. I absolutely love it, and I had a great time in the mountains. Very fall, very cozy. And now I get to introduce to you the book that I've been reading that you've seen a clip of, and that is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I told you this in the beginning, but this is the lowest rated book on my TBR. It has a 3.73 star rating of 966,000 ratings, which is a ton, nearly a million. I put this on my TBR back in March 2024, and for the most part, I've seen this book and got it on my TBR, I'm sure, last year because of TikTok. And this will be the first book that I've read by R.F. Kuang. I've seen her books on TikTok and all over creators' pages who post bookish content. Most recently, I know she's come out with a book past in August, Catabasis. And I had to look this book up as far as what the genre was, and I do believe that personally, in reference of something that stands out, this is the first genre that I've seen be listed as satirical. So I am very excited to keep on pushing through this. I was saying that I'm reading it on Kindle Unlimited, page 60, which is about 17. Oh goodness. My cats are hungry, so they are just running around crazy. About 17% of the way through the book. And this book follows June. June is who I would consider a B-list writer, or author, maybe even C-list author in the context of this book. And she has a friend whose name is Athena. Athena is more the A-list writer. She's getting book deals, she's getting Netflix shows. She is sort of jealous of Athena, and they don't really have that great of a relationship. And June doesn't have much to look forward to in her writing career. She is not excelling like Athena is until one day Athena dies tragically. There is a very traumatic incident that happens with Athena, and June snatches her book. Now, this is a book that June knows Athena has not shown to anyone. It's been written on paper, and she was just telling her that very day that she died that she was done with the book, or the first draft book, and June takes it. So the morality of this story and the concept of this story is very, what do you say? So June takes the book and she publishes it as her own, and that's sort of where we are right now. So we're definitely getting a deep dive into the publishing industry and what it's like to start a book and finish a book and get book deals, and especially do that for a book that's not originally yours. And June is trying to sort of tell the reader why it's okay that she's doing this. And in comes the satiricalness of the genre. Satiricalness, probably not even a word. Part of what June is saying is that the book that she essentially has stolen from her dead author friend is about Chinese laborers during World War I. And Athena is Chinese, but our main character June is not. I believe she's white. And June is trying to tell the reader, myself, that it's okay that she publishes this book because this story needs to be told. Only 60 pages in, you can definitely see how this novel is going to follow diversity, racism, and cultural appropriation. And we're gonna see how that is delved into and also viewed by other characters in the story, as well as our own takes on it and how we perceive whether or not what June is doing is appropriate. And that's all for now on the summary. I don't want to spoil too much, but all that's on the back of the cover or wherever you're reading your summary of the books. I'm going to go feed my cats dinner, so there is not quite literally a cat fight in my house. I will update you probably tomorrow morning on how we're feeling so far about Yellowface and whether or not we think it deserves to be the lowest rated on my TBR. Hello. We have made it Tuesday after work today. I did get up and read a good bit, probably like an hour and 15 before work this morning, and then during my lunch break, and I come to you at page 192 of Yellowface by R.F. Kuang, which is about 56% of the way through the book. My Kindle is telling me that if I keep reading at the pace that I'm reading at, I can finish this book in 1 hour and 53 minutes. I wanted to give you some quick updates because boy, is this book interesting. I almost feel like I'm getting whiplash with the point of view of this story. We are following June's point of view, and she is just dragging me through the mud on almost like gaslighting me. She is just taking all of this time to explain almost anything but the morality of why she stole the book and why she published it under her name. And so I get distracted by the idea that, oh, these are the things that June's doing, and she's going through the life of publication. And then I'm like, wait a second, she did steal this book. And all throughout this process, she's sort of explaining her point of view of publishing her first novel, which was considered a flop, and then publishing this novel and how it is a roaring success. And I think that the cultural appropriation, the racism, and the diversity that the author explains in the summary of the book come into play in a few different ways, like her shift in her name from the first novel to the second novel, the use/no use of a sensitivity reader, these posts on Twitter, her headshot for the book from the first book to the second book, and then just the idea of cancel culture and the use of Twitter in this novel. I almost can't keep up. I'm trying to stay locked in and not forget the point. So I think R.F. Kuang is doing a great job of trying every so often by putting you in June's point of view to make you like June. But in the end, it's like, how can you? I don't know if this is going to blow up in her face, but I certainly hope that it does. I am going to probably keep reading tonight. I have a free evening up until 8 o'clock because Dancing with the Stars is on tonight, and I will be movie sat. Maybe I'll read a little bit during the commercial breaks and a little bit before. But I'll update you tomorrow and let you know my final thoughts on Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. Okay, friends and readers, we have made it to Wednesday and I have finished Yellowface by R.F. Kuang on my Kindle, and I think I'm going to rate it a 3.75 4-star, which honestly, I'm looking back at the Goodreads rating, it's rated a 3.73, so I feel like I'm falling right around the average of the ratings. This book is meant, at least I hope, to make you feel uncomfortable. You dive so much into the publishing industry, and I think that having an author's perspective on authors makes it that much better and that much easier to read, because R.F. Kuang is probably obviously an expert at what goes down in the publishing industry and can write it in a way that is simple for the reader to understand. One thing about this book is I did not like a single character. I don't remember how I was feeling the first 50% of the way. I think I was feeling confused on the main character, June, but after 50% of the way, no character in here is easy to root for. In fact, in my opinion, you probably shouldn't be rooting for any of these characters. The qualities of them, the author writes them in a way that they are just not great people, which is a good way to explain that if you can't like any of the characters, giving the book a 4-star is probably like, huh, how? If you didn't like any of the characters, and that's just because of the story, the drama, the satire. You are walking through the publishing industry in the eyes of someone who is not morally sound, and the people around them also have no morals, it seems. And in 2025, the parallels of the society, both publishing and just the world that they live in, it's kind of scary for what it looks like right now as well. And for once, I actually guessed the kind of plot twist towards the end. I knew what and who was involved, and that never happens to me. I'm kind of proud of myself. Throughout the whole novel, you are building on the title Yellowface, but there's also direct mention to it towards the end of the book. So overall, the ratings rang true for me. I know that there are other great books out there by R.F. Kuang. If you've read any, let me know which one I should start with next. And I'll catch you later when I pick up our highest rated book for the week and on my TBR. We have made it to Thursday evening. I've just gotten off work and I wanted to update you. We are now reading the highest rated book currently on my TBR, and that is Play Along by Liz Tomforde. Play Along on Goodreads has a star rating of a 4.46 out of 270,000 ratings. This is by far the highest rated book in this series. This is a part of a interconnected series of sports romances in the Windy City series. This series is on Kindle Unlimited if you want to read it on there. And clearly with it being the highest rated in the series, most people have the best things to say about Play Along when it comes to all 5 books in the series. I have read books 1, 2, and 3. Play Along is book number 4. And then more recently, book number 5 was released, I believe, in this past year. I have thoughts on the series so far, and as I've read them, books 1, 2, and 3, each book has gotten progressively better for me. Book 1 dealt with hockey and it was my least favorite. Book 2 moved on to basketball and I enjoyed it. And book 3 was baseball, single dad trope, my favorite by far. Book 3 is about the male main character's brother, so the male main character in Play Along. His brother is in book number 3, so we did get a glimpse of Isaiah, the male main character in Play Along, a few different times throughout 3rd book in the series. And I'm not going to lie, Isaiah came across as, I don't know, I just didn't really care for him. He was very fun, go lucky, playful, and always the butt of the jokes being told. Not the butt of the jokes, but the ones telling the jokes where other people were the butt of them. I just got a weird feeling with him. And we also saw our female main character, Kennedy, in the 3rd book as well. And I liked Kennedy in the small glimpses that she appeared. She felt like a girl's girl, also trying to establish herself as an athlete athletic trainer amongst a male baseball team. So I didn't have the best thoughts about Isaiah coming into this book, which is so surprising because everyone loves it. I decided that I would try to be objective about Isaiah. I don't know, he just felt like he kind of sexualized Kennedy in the third book in the very small glimpses that we got of her. But now that I've actually started play along, I'm starting to see why people love this book. Maybe as its own standalone book, but also in the interconnected world of the past 3 books as well. So we are following a dual point of view of Kennedy. As I said, she's the athletic trainer for the men's baseball team. This is a professional baseball league, and she is the only female on staff. She is a sexist doctor who is basically her boss, and she is trying to score a job somewhere else, or at least at her own job, that she's actually qualified for because she's way overqualified to be an athletic trainer, and that she doesn't have to work under a sexist boss. And then we have Isaiah. Isaiah is a shortstop on this baseball team, or the shortstop on the baseball team, and he has been pining after Kennedy for 3 years since she first got the job as an athletic trainer. However, all those years she had a wedding ring on, but in the last few months the wedding ring has been ditched, and his ruthless flirting is flirting no longer because he wants them to be endgame. The pining for years, that's where Isaiah gets me, and of course it feels like we are misled to believe that he's maybe not the best companion for someone in the other books in the series. So of course he has his moment to shine in book number 4. She turns him down and turns him down and turns him down because she has to be professional, or she is told to be professional by her sexist boss, by not fraternizing with the team players. Until one drunken night, Vegas, bam, they're married. And that's on the back of the book cover, but also that's kind of where I've stopped reading, or in the point where I'm at in the story. And so I do not know where this marriage is going to go. It's so blurry and so hazy. Don't really know how it happened or what's going to happen moving forward. I will keep you updated. I am feeling giddy and good about it so far though. It has been quite some time since I last talked to you. I think I may have talked to you on Thursday, and it is Saturday at like 5:34 p.m. And I never give a halfway update to our highest rated book on my TBR, which is Play Along by Liz Tomforde. And funnily enough, I've actually finished it. Totally forgot to give an update when I was 50% of the way through. And that's because I've been really leaning on my Kindle and my Audible credit. I tried a free trial of Audible. It was like 99 cents for the next 3 months, so not free, but almost free. And I got my 1 credit for the book, and I've really been listening to probably a large part of the last 50% of this book. And I think I'm gonna settle on a 4-star for this book. Towards the end here, we're getting very, very spicy in the book. So if you're into the spice in the sports romance, in this case, baseball, then this could be a good book for you. I will say, as a standalone book, I'm not sure how I would feel about it. I don't know that I'd rate it lower, but I am rating it a 4-star because I love seeing all of the characters just compile and see all the love of all the other characters in books 1, 2, and 3. And then the introduction of Rio, who I know is gonna be book 5 in the series. He's in this book a few times as well. And that found family aspect is what I really, really like about the book. And all of the interaction with Kai and Max, the male main character, and the male main character's son in book number 3, which was my favorite to this point. It does make me excited for book number 5. And then I also really like their jokes. They had good banter between each other and good quips. It's a fake marriage trope until it's not. You know what I mean? I do wonder, there's some characters that they talk about a ton in this book who it almost seems like they're setting up maybe another world, or I don't know, like the coach Monty they talk about a lot. The stepbrother that everyone hates, Dean, they talk about a lot. But I know that that this technically interconnected series ends with book number 5, and I know it's not about them, at least not directly, so I wonder what that's about. I totally flipped and 180'd on Isaiah from how I felt about him in his sneak peeks in the other books in this series versus how I feel about him in this book. He is such a sweetheart. I love how Isaiah was portrayed in the story. I love how he communicated. I mean, he was pretty brutally honest with our female main character from the beginning, and you just want to root for him and his problems and him overcoming his problems. I have been reading all of them on Kindle Unlimited, so I haven't been seeing the physical book, but for the most part, these are chunkier sports romances. I think I remember seeing someone with book number 5 and it was about that big, and so it is a little bit of a longer one, but I do recommend the series, and I do see why this is the highest rated book on my TBR currently. I do think though, if I hadn't read certain books more recently, that this wouldn't have been the highest on my TBR. I feel like most people are rating it a 5-star. It's well over a 4-star, so that part is a little bit interesting. But if you're into sports romances and you're into spice and you love interconnected series like this, then you're probably, as you get down in the series, some people might be more prone to just rating 5 stars. I personally didn't get the 5-star feeling, but still a good book. Another lowest rated and highest rated off my TBR. So next time I do this, it'll be completely different books on there. Well, bye for now.